Good morning, and welcome to another Saturday morning coffee episode of Alcove. I'm your host, Michael, and today we're going to be doing a little bit of a Thanksgiving special. So, if you are not from America and you have not heard about Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving is basically just a holiday where we Americans like to gorge ourselves with a whole lot of food, and usually you're supposed to be surrounded by family or close friends and enjoying each other's time. So I have one thing to say, I guess, and it goes along with Thanksgiving. But I've recently coming around a lot of discourse around unannounced visitors, and I find it weird that people are so hostile about unannounced visitors. Like, I see comments about how even if they see it's a friend or a family member, they won't answer the door when an unannounced visitor knocks or rings the doorbell because they think that they should have had the courtesy to let them know ahead of time. I love surprise visits. I don't see anything wrong with this. I can't imagine a reason why our society would have shifted to this because before modern conveniences like cell phones, before cell phones even landlines, unannounced visits would have been commonplace, right? And I think, I guess what I'm just trying to say is I love unannounced visitors. I think they're great. I think it's kind of I appreciate it when someone just spontaneously says, you know what, I'm going to go see what Michael was up to. I'll stop by, say hi. Even if I'm busy, I still love that because and I'll still take the time to sit down. Even like I said, what I'm trying to say is, even if it's an inconvenience, I would still stop what I'm doing to invite them in and hang out with them for as long as they wanted because it's I appreciate that they care about me and I want to maintain that relationship. So I don't know, it just seems weird. And so I think this relates to Thanksgiving because Thanksgiving can often bring unannounced visitors, and obviously there's exceptions to this when it's somebody you're feuding with or there's prior issues. But anyways, back to Thanksgiving. I think that Thanksgiving is what people want Christmas to be about, and that would be quality time with family. There's no presents, and there's less expectations about seeing multiple households like there are with Christmas, going to the aunt, uncles, going to grandma and grandpa's of both sides, and so on and so on, and it can become a hassle. But with Thanksgiving, people just say, oh, I'm going to this house for Thanksgiving, and that's it. You're not expected. People want you to go somewhere else, but they know that once you go to one house, you're there for all of Thanksgiving usually, right? And another thing I really like about Thanksgiving is that there's more expectations to express what you're thankful for, and I think that's kind of like what the spirit of people want out of Christmas is people to be more thankful and expressing that rather than being excited about gifts and buying stuff. And so I just think it's funny that what everyone here in America complains about, what Christmas isn't about anymore, and how they want it to shift is exactly what Thanksgiving is, just 1 month earlier. Anywho, in the spirit of Thanksgiving, I thought I would share 5 things that I am thankful for. And the first up is board games. It's no secret how much I love board games. I even have Tabletop Oasis, one of the YouTube channels dedicated to board games, tabletop, and card games. And I grew up playing board games, and that was the method of spending quality time with my family. And it's absolutely how I intend on spending quality time with with the family I build. It's how I hang out with Faith now, and how I hope that my kids and I hang out and spend close time together. And so I've just always really enjoyed board and card and all, the physical games like that. I think it's you get to express some strategy and critical and creative thinking, and at the same time, you're getting to play with close friends and family. And I think it just brings me a lot of joy, and it always has. Win or lose, uh, it's always still a good time to be hanging out with family that way. And so, board games have always held just a really special place in my heart, and a special place in my home. And so I'm excited to see how that continues in the future, and especially, what form that might take when, our life circumstances develop and change down the road. The second thing that I'm thankful for is farmers markets. I think that there are very few simple joys in life like walking down a good farmer's market at 7 or 8 a.m. with a coffee and a little bit of spending money in your pocket. I'm always an advocate for supporting non-corporations and making connections with local and regional vendors. I think farmers markets are, I would I would argue that they're like the quintessential community experience. And I think that every community could do with having a strong farmers market program, and being able to develop connections with local farms and artisans, and helping showcase those, and letting the community engage with them, in an open air market like that, what a farmers market is. And so, I especially rural communities. I think it's a fantastic opportunity, and in those smaller towns, and I wish there were more good farmers markets, because it seems like it's actually kind of hard to find good farmers markets. What I mean by good is just like, a variety of vendors, and maybe, I don't think food is necessarily a requirement, but it really helps keep people there, I think. And I would just say, consistency, sticking to a schedule, and some form of entertainment to really liven up the experience. I think that's enough to make it a good farmers market. And maybe that seems like a lot to some people, but I don't know, when you have a town committee comprised of volunteers who want to see this happen, like spreading the work amongst them shouldn't be that difficult, and they should be able to achieve something like that. And so, anyways, I'm thankful for farmers markets, because they've also brought me a lot of joy and happiness in life, and it's a simple joy. I have to do relatively little. I just have to grab a cup of coffee and walk down the street, and I am surrounded by other people that are equally there, because they believe in supporting local and regional vendors, and just what's not to love about a farmer's market. My third thing I'm thankful for is the Halo video game franchise. This franchise has given me, without exaggeration, probably several months of in-game playtime. So thousands of hours of playing this entire series, since I was just a little kid. Like when I don't, some of my earliest memories of hanging out with my dad was playing Halo 2 and Halo 3, or mostly Halo 2. Those were the earliest memories. But playing Halo 2, me and my brother ganging up against my dad, and he's still kicking our ass. And as I grew into being a teenager, my friends played Halo, and we'd all bring our TVs and our Xboxes back to our house. And back then, the TVs were big old box TVs, so you had to lug those suckers around with your big old Xbox. And so it was a whole ordeal, and I think that maybe added to how special it was for us all to be playing Halo together. And it brought me closer and kept our friend group together, my core friend group in high school, together for a long time. And I mean, I can't really describe why Halo was so important to me. I guess as even as like a cultural touch point, um, it was just always provided an opportunity for so I guess some level of strategy, and it was my window into the online gaming experience, and so I took full advantage of that, and I played as often as I possibly could, and then probably saw some more after that. And so Halo's always been something I've been thankful for, even if I have not been as big a fan of some of the newer stuff. Um, I'm still really in love with this franchise, and I appreciate a lot of the stuff that's come out of it. So, and how could I not be thankful for Halo giving me the popular web series Red versus Blue, produced by Rooster Teeth? RIP, that company has been shut down, and it's a big bummer. But Red versus Blue was a web series where the creators used the machinima style, and so machinima just means like making a movie out of you playing a game, and so the creators of Red versus Blue would get into Halo and then set up the game as the characters, and it was a comedy series, and it lasted 20 seasons, 21, 20 seasons. Yeah, they went 20 seasons in 21 years. And I think I've pretty much never had any friend to actually share my love of Red versus Blue with them, and it's entirely like it. Some multiple people have seen multiple seasons, but I don't know anyone personally who's actually watched the entire series. And so I wish I had more people to share this with, but I guess for me, it's my own little special corner of internet history that I get to have by myself as a, in real life, just me. Online, obviously, there's a massive fan base, but the next thing that I wanted to talk about that I'm thankful for is fantasy as a genre. And so, I mean, when I say fantasy as a genre, I'm including movies, TV shows, books, podcasts, gaming, just everything that is included in the word fantasy. And so, when it comes to tabletop gaming, we're talking about D&D. When we're talking about podcasts, well, we're talking about D&D podcasts, or just audio dramas that have a fantasy element to them, movies and TV shows. There's so much to love about fantasy movies. We've got Stardust. I loved The Dark Crystal, the movie and the TV show. Narnia as a kid was huge. My mom showed me the Dragonheart series when I was a little kid. Amazing, never-ending story, and there's so many more that I can't name off the top of my head. But then when it comes to books, as a teenager, fantasy books were when I was depressed and felt extremely lonely as a teenager. Fantasy books provided a form of escapism that let me enter a new world and experience different things and just be somewhere else. And that was, I think, a healthy coping mechanism, but also concretely and firmly solidified my forever love of fantasy books. And, those include, the most popular titles like Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings. But I absorbed every bit of fantasy books that I could. Like for instance with Harry Potter, I remember waiting in the movies, doing midnight releases, and waiting there for we would do a full marathon of the movies beforehand, or we would go and sit outside the movie theater for a day ahead of time to get into the theater and guarantee a spot and seeing Harry Potter and sitting on the sidewalk the whole time waiting. And those are just special things I would have never done for any other genre. And so I just absolutely love, the opportunities that fantasy brings. And then the last thing I want to say I'm thankful for is podcasts. And so there's no other medium that I think could give me such like this degree of exposure to different ideas and comedy and even learning opportunities, or ways to improve my life that I think podcasts give me. And I'm just incredibly thankful for podcasts and podcasting and podcasters, every step of that process. I think also for me, podcasting has been an awesome opportunity where I've gotten to talk with activists from around the world about the work they do and why they do it and what compels them to continue the work. I've had opportunities to listen to people all across the world talk about, incredible mental health struggles and the things they have survived. And I've had the opportunity to sit down and have unique conversations that are otherwise really difficult when you don't have a mic between you. And sometimes just having a mic in its own way reduces the difficulty or stress around having that, that kind of conversation. And I've had the opportunity to share my love and interest for so many different things through podcasting as a medium. And I just, I have a lot of appreciation for podcasts, and I wish I had found out about them much sooner than I did. I think it was either late 2018 or early 2019 when I heard my first podcast, and then by I think November of 2019, I had my first podcast episode produced and on the internet. And so it's been, I think it's been like 5 years now of podcasting, and I wish I'd gotten into it sooner, but I had no way of knowing about it, and I just appreciate everything there is about podcasts and what they can expose you to, and so I'm glad they exist, and I can't wait to learn about more podcasts out there and experience more things. I think I don't know if it's sad or not that so many podcasts die every day. I don't know. I've gone back and forth on that, and sometimes some podcasts just aren't great. But I think other times people give up on their idea too early, and they don't push through to see what's at the end of the tunnel. So, anyways, thank you to board games and farmers markets, to the Halo video game series, to fantasy as a genre, and podcasts for everything you've given me in my life. I appreciate the endless hours of entertainment and love and laughs all of these have given me in my life. So, with that being said, I think I might have forgotten to mention, but every year at Thanksgiving, I try to make my family say, or the table that I'm sitting at, what's one thing that you're thankful for this year? And I try to get everyone to participate in this and just express their gratitude and appreciation for one particular thing. And I think that's where this exercise kind of came from. As I was getting ready to head to my fiance's families for Thanksgiving this year, I was thinking about things that I was thankful for. And so I think I might be making this the yearly post-Thanksgiving episode where I just talk about a few things that I'm thankful for and why and where it comes from. And I will always endeavor to make sure that it is a different thing. And so I don't talk about these same 5 experiences next year. So with today's recommendation, I wanted to suggest to you to all go and listen to the debut album, Which Doobie You Be by Funk Dubious, and it was released in 1993. It is an R&B album with funky sounds that reminds me of both House of Pain and Cypress Hill, and it is a very enjoyable album, although it is entirely explicit. So do not listen to it around kids, as that would be a very bad idea, and I will not be held accountable for that decision. So you've been warned, but it is a fantastic album. I got a lot of criticism for being like Cypress Hill and House of Pain, but I think maybe that was just the potential way that soundscape was going at that time, and regardless, it's still enjoyable as an independent experience if you just want to shut off being critical and just enjoy the music for what it is. I think it's a very laid back and relaxing kind of album in its own way. So that's it for today's Saturday Morning Coffee. Thank you so much for being here. Have a good day.